Okay, this is a mixture problem. And mixture problems can be solved similarly as speed, distance, time. Especially this question because you see this dollar per pound. So look at this, dollar per pound. Okay, what does per mean? What does per mean? Divide. Per is divide, okay? So that really means the following. It's 0.81 dollars per pound. That's how you should interpret it, okay? And what does that suggest? So this is what we call the price, right? Let's put a name to each unit. So we have the price.
The price per
Yeah,
pound.
yeah, price per pound. Okay, so that's good. Price. Okay, price per pound. Okay, so price per pound is given by dividing what by what?
The price per pound.
Price divided by pound, right?
So the
So-
0.1 over what's 1 pound.
That's what this is. Okay, so there's the price per pound, there's the price, there's the pound. Now, you probably noticed that this has the exact same structure as how we solve distance, time, and speed, right? Because we had speed equals the distance over time, right? So you solve it exactly the same way. You have this formula. Make sure you have this formula. And then we're going to make a table of those three things. You have price per pound, PPP, price per pound. I like that, PPP. Sounds funny. All right. And then you have the price, and then you have the pound. Okay. All right. Now, what is this about? It's about two kinds of cheese, right? So there's a cheap one and there's a more expensive one. Right? So let's write down cheap, expensive. And then you keep filling in the empty spaces, and at some point you end up with an equation and you're done. Same idea, right? Okay, so what's the price per pound for the cheap one?
81 cents.
0.81, right? For the expensive,
$1.29.
1.29. Oh, but then there's another one. There's 1.11, but that's for the mixture. So I'm gonna make another one here, mixture, mixed. That's 1.11. Okay. Now, I don't know how many pounds each are. So, I know the total pound, right? The total pound is what? 16. I know 16 goes in here. And the question is actually how many of each? How many of the cheap stuff, how many of the expensive stuff should you mix to get this, right? Okay. So you have the, we'll just put X for one of them. Then what goes in here? If cheap is X and the total should be 16, what goes in here?
X minus 16. X plus 16.
No?
X minus
X minus 16, no. X plus 16, no. What goes in here?
X divided by 16.
No. See,
Well,
when just trying out random stuff doesn't work, just think of concrete numbers. So if the total is 16 pounds and you have like 10 pounds of the cheap stuff, how many of the expensive stuff are you getting? 6 pounds. How did you get the 6? From
Subtract 16 from 10.
yeah, that's what you did, right? Didn't you do exactly that, right?
Yeah.
So that's all there is to it. Just play with some concrete numbers, and then you can teach yourself while solving the question. Okay? You don't come to a question knowing everything. It's impossible to know everything beforehand when you're solving word problems because there's so many situations. You just have to keep thinking and teach yourself as you solve. Okay? This is not about memorizing. You really need to learn how to think. That's the only way you can do well in the word problems. Unfortunately. And that's why it's so hard. That's why students struggle, because you can't just handle this by memorizing and practicing. You really have to think, okay? So here, what do I put again? 16 minus x. Okay. All right, so it looks like we have these empty. Okay, and from our previous experiences, when we had like a bunch of stuff empty, we were to use this formula that was given to us, right? Okay, is this empty space the price per pound or price or the pound? Which one is it?
Price.
It's the price. Okay, so that means we need the formula for the price when the other two are given. How do we get that formula? What is the formula for the price?
Pounds
How do we
times
solve this
price-
for the price?
Pounds times price per pound.
You multiply pounds both sides, right? Then these will cancel, and you have price equal to pounds times price per pound. Good? Yeah, works, right? Yeah. So you have price equal to pound times price per pound. So you take this quantity, multiply them together, that's what goes in here. So you put 0.81x, you put, oh, I don't have enough space here, so forgive me for writing small. 1.29 times 16 minus x. Okay. And this will be 16 times 1.11. How do you do that? 16 times 1.11. Oh, I have a calculator here. Thank you for the calculator. So 1.11 times 16, 17.76. Okay. So we filled everything. The first thing that you should look for is like, is there any number we didn't make use of? Well, I see 0.81 here, I see 1.29, I see 16, I see 1.11. All the numbers given in the question were used. Okay. Now, if that's not, you don't see any extra stuff in the question, then the next question that you should be asking is there anything that are equal? Okay. So you have some cheap stuff, you have some expensive stuff, you add the pounds and you get 16, right? So that's good. This is computed in some harder way, but how do you get the price of the total things if you have individual prices? So think about this. If you had the total mixed cheese, and this much is the cheap stuff, and this much is the expensive stuff, and this went on for, say, you computed how much of the cheap stuff you have is, let's just say 7. Then how much of the expensive stuff do you need to get 1776? It'd be 10.76, wouldn't it be? Right? So the idea here, and I think this is something that's not really seen too often when you're doing distance, time, and speed. It's that the two, if you look at column-wise, a lot of things work this way. Adding the 2 gives you the result. Adding the 2 gives you the result. This is not true. Price per pounds, you can't add them to get the final one, right? Because these are like averages, so that's different. But for the price, if you add them, you should be getting the final price. Do you agree? All right, okay. So that idea will be used again. So I'm going to do another example of mixtures, and you're going to see that idea being used again, okay? All right. So let's finish this question by writing that equation. I'm saying 0.81x plus 1.29, 16 minus x, should equal to 17.76. We multiply this by expanding. I need my calculator. 1.29 times 16, 20.64. 20.64 minus 1.29 equals to 17.76. And then, oh, that's x. These two are like terms, so I combine them. 0.81 minus 1.29 equals to negative 0.448. And on the right side, if I move the 20.64 to the other side, that gets subtracted. So if I do 17.76 minus 20.64, I get negative 2.88. Now finally, to get x, we divide negative 2.88 by negative 0.48. Let's see what that gives us. Divide by 0.48. And you get 6. Okay, so what did we just find? We found that the cheap stuff should be 6 pounds, and expensive stuff should be how much? 10 pounds. Okay, so that's the answer.